Well, at 2:30 this afternoon, the Reserve Bank of Australia will deliver its cash rate decision for the month of July. For more, we're joined by our business reporter, Edward Boyd, outside the RBA headquarters. Ed, what are you expecting? Any surprises, do you think, on the cards? It looks like expectations are pretty mixed.
They are pretty mixed. There's a lot of speculation about what the Reserve Bank Board is going to do today. Look, one thing we know for sure, they've said over and over again that the cash rate is going to be kept on hold until 2024 at the earliest. However, over the last couple of weeks, there's been some speculation from overseas central banks potentially raising rates earlier than expected. The US Federal Reserve could be raising rates within the next 2 years. So an economist at Westpac, Bill Evans, he believes the Reserve Bank is actually going to lift the cash rate in 2023. And Commonwealth Bank's Gareth believes it'll actually be next year in November 2022. So today we could potentially see a slight change of language from the Reserve Bank in their statement that comes out at 2:30 p.m, just around that 2024 as a hard deadline for when they will be raising interest rates. But the big news out of today's Reserve Bank Board meeting, they're going to be debating the economic stimulus. The bank has been providing quantitative easing to our economy. In other words, they've been buying government bonds, and by September, they'll have bought $200 billion worth of government bonds. And today they're making a call on whether they need to buy more bonds to help keep interest rates low for our economy. So today there's speculation the bank could just buy another $100 billion in bonds, or it could be a lower figure. It could be around the $75 billion mark, potentially buying $5 billion a week over the course of the next few months. But that's the key thing coming out of today's meeting. It's whether this economic stimulus that the bank has been providing the economy for quite a while now is going to be continuing on for the foreseeable future. Ash.
And so, Ed, is that why the Governor's planning a pretty rare press conference this afternoon? It's not the usual format we see from him, is it?
Well, it's not. So this will actually be his third press conference since he became Governor in 2016. So they're very rare occurrences. And the two press conferences he has hosted were last year during the pandemic. So very rare for Governor Philip Lowe to hold a press conference. It's going to be at 4 p.m. today. Expect him to really go into a lot of detail on the bank's policy moves and what they're potentially going to be doing today. He's going to talk in detail about that. Remember, the Reserve Bank wants inflation to be between 2 and 3%. It's currently around the 1% mark. They also want wages growth to start happening much more rapidly. But also at the same time, unemployment is actually in a very good place. It's at 5.1%, and there are now more people in work right now than there were before the pandemic. And Australia's housing market is moving at a very rapid pace. House prices across the country are continuing to rise. So there's a lot of good signs for the economy, and that's really what Governor Philip Lowe is going to talk about, the challenge of the economy doing really well, but interest rates being at ultra record lows. So looking forward to hearing from him in a few hours, Ash.
Big afternoon for you coming up, Ed. Full coverage, of course, here on Sky News. Thank you for the update.